Yanky, an example of an anti-book. Let's take the halo effect.
Okay. Most people in business will have heard of Jim Collins. He's one of the top best-selling authors of all time. I think that his last book, or the book that he's probably most famous for, which is Good to Great, sold something like 20 million copies. Good to Great is an analysis of what makes good companies great. What separates, in other words, the really successful company from the company that's just doing okay. And it's a very detailed analysis. He describes in the book how much detail he went into in terms of the research, and it's regarded as a sort of Bible. A few years ago, along came a professor of business called Rosenzweig, and he wrote a book called The Halo Effect. And he doesn't just attack books like Good to Great. He actually specifies Good to Great as something that is really dangerous, because he claims that the research upon which Collins based the concept of how you move a company from good to great was flawed, badly flawed. Now, I think that it's the sort of book that you cannot discuss Collins unless you also look at Rosenzweig, because if you listen to Collins and you just believe everything that he says, everything seems very straightforward. Rosenzweig doesn't have a particular problem with the companies that Collins chose, although in parenthesis, a lot of the great companies aren't even around anymore, so something may have been a little bit not quite right with Collins' methodology, but he attacks the very idea that success can be measured by the number of times you are reported in the press, which was really, that was the main methodology of Collins. And Rosenzweig says this is a self-perpetuating circle. If you feed articles to the media, and the media prints articles to say how wonderful you are, and then you collect how many articles say you're wonderful, and you use that as a measure for a great company, he says something's a bit strange there. And I have to say, once I'd read The Halo Effect, I couldn't take Collins seriously. I was very surprised, though, that when Collins wrote a recent book in which he talks about what went wrong with the great companies, he doesn't even mention Rosenzweig. I thought that was intellectually a little off, because I think that The Halo Effect was public enough for Collins to have noticed it, and I would have expected some sort of response. And the only response I got was that he once again describes in great detail how many crates of papers he used in his research and how many megabytes it took up online. So for me, The Halo Effect is a very strong example, a powerful example of a book that actually questions gurus' ideas of how the business world works.